running half marathons for charity, whatever. Just call me.
1 minute.
Just call me.
Sorry? See the light.
Wrap it up.
Oh. All right.
That exclude this part. You don't get one normal. I'm more natural and real than this.
You want the blooper in the actual interview.
Of course you do. What's the fun in that?
Yeah.
Hello, I'm Janet from Trinis in London. I'm here in the heart of Carnival Land, Ladbroke Grove, and I am extremely fortunate to be in the company of Ian Alvarez, also known as Bunji and Fay-Ann Lyons. And I will be asking, as usual, a few questions about themselves, their lifestyles, their opinions on life itself, and hopefully gaining some insight to how they coexist. Bunji, Ian, whichever you want to prefer to be called, your album launched today. How are you feeling about that? How's it going? Have you been checking on it?
No, not really, because we've been busy trying to sort out some other stuff. So I know that is happening already, so not really needing to focus on that other than to promote it. In a few days from now, we will be able to sit and try to analyze exactly what is happening with it. But there's some other stuff that we're kind of focusing on right now, because we still have scheduled performances and things coming up, all these carnivals and events coming up, so we just need, that's where our focus has been, in fact, for the past few days.
It seems like Differentology has been on the map for so long, and to hear it come out as an album, it just seems like really tardy. It just seems like, why has it taken so long?
Yeah.
But
well, to tell you the truth, we could have put out an album before, but then what type of album? And we kind of took specific time and care in trying to analyze exactly what we wanted to target, because naturally releasing a single Home for Carnival, you immediately already conquered your home market and the environs around. There's a specific attention that is happening now from the outside world, or the new world I will call it, on what we do with our music. So the album and the name, everything was specifically packaged and put together to continue captivating and capitalizing on that focus that is happening now, rather than just take a whole set of new tunes and just dump it on there to restart the process. What we're doing is continuing the process. So while they're looking in, we are continuing to keep the attention on by putting what they know already, and maybe just like a few, one or two, and send it off. So that way they have a chance to familiarize themselves more with what they already know, and an opportunity to learn a few new ones. So by the next time when we come brand new and fresh, they're already in the space and know of the environment and how to harness it and handle it when it comes to them.
you have stated that you feel that, or that you can take soca and mix it with other genres of music to create something different, okay? And you have. What would you say was the genre of music that you've most enjoyed working with?
Mixed
in with the soca.
Which soca? I'll have to say our neighbours, which would be dancehall or reggae per se. They're more dancehall than reggae. Because the BPM was up there, closer to soca now. And then within the last 5 years, both of them started exchanging music. They started exchanging tones and melodies. So you have a dancehall rhythm with beats like if it's soca, you have a soca beat that could use a bass line like if it's dancehall, or keys like that. And because and we're from the same region, so I personally did not see a reason why they shouldn't or couldn't coexist. I mean, we're from the same region. We do it with races. We do it with food. So you know what I'm saying. So what's the problem doing it with music?
And for you, Fay-Ann, what kind of music grabs you? What inspires you?
Well, everything. I mean, I like pop, R&B, I like hip hop, dancehall. I've done some reggae. At present, the album that I'm working on has a fusion of reggae, dancehall, and pop and R&B, and of course soca.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, um, I like I like having the ability to do all different genres, and really dabble in it, because I write almost any type of music. So for me,
Mm-hmm.
it's fun to be able to not just keep yourself grounded into one.
Okay. And do you teach? I mean, between the two of you, do you teach other people
Well,
sort of how to? No, and it's the kind of question because you spoke the other day about artists just sticking to themselves and just forwarding themselves in their own work, and you're talking about blending and making a sort of a CARICOM of soca. Do you?
we've done work with some upcoming artists. We've done work with artists that were established in their own country.
Mm-hmm.
I've written songs for like one or two people. I've done over remixes a couple of people's songs. um I've worked with him on a couple of the projects that he's done
Yeah.
in the past,
Yeah.
like actually songwriting,
Mhm.
and a couple of the present projects that he's on. I did some minor writing for that. So um, from that aspect, yes, producers we've worked with to the point where we able to actually structure a song and not just rely on them to put music to it.
Yeah.
He's been dabbling in production, like
Okay.
actual production.
Mm-hmm.
So we're no longer at that stage where we need to sit down and say, okay, here's the lyrics to something, I want music. We could actually say, I'm hearing this brass line, or I'm hearing this guitar, or I'm hearing this bass, I'm hearing this, I'm hearing that, this tone. And based on what the information we provide to them, they could actually get a blueprint of what the song should sound like when it's finished.
Okay. At the moment, we've got, as you know, a lot of artists trying to come up in the UK. Now, we've got a few artists that are Trinidadian born, but wanting to bring it sort of more into the UK
Right.
and Europe. But, I think they're finding it quite difficult. And if you speak to them, I've spoken to quite a few of them, they don't see themselves as UK artists. They see themselves as Trinidadians working in the UK. What kind of advice would you give them?
As like as a soca artist,
As
was it?
soca
Coming
artists,
Well,
up
yeah,
and
yeah,
coming.
interesting question. Because that used to happen a lot with artists in New York.
Yes.
I remember them Brooklyn artists used to have a very hard time, you know, taking up the art form and wanting to be a part of it. No one used to really want to give them a break, and it's because in the West Indies, and I'm not sure about the rest of islands how intense it is, but in Trinidad and Tobago we have a nasty habit of this thing about, well, what you know about we culture,
Even
right?
if you're from here.
And even if you're from here, and I remember talking to a lot of radio announcers and who work on US radio, and some of them frankly said, I'm done trying to be a part of Trinidad and Tobago back home, because every time I come home and I want to learn about where I come from. I've never been a part of it. With my strengths and the connection I have, I want to be a part of it so I could help the people develop, you know. And every time I come home, I'm met with, like, you Yankees, and what you know about our culture, and what you know about we music and this and that. So we have this selfish thing about, and this way that if you're not from home and you're not taking it from home, then you have no clue about what we do, and you have no right. Um, if you was born in Trinidad and Tobago and you live outside, or your root is from Trinidad, naturally you have some sort of right to our art and culture. And then even beyond that, in my opinion, and this is just my view,
Okay.
the fact that you're in this world anyway, you have the right to any culture and art that you see, that that you want to be a part of. I mean, once it is not destroying your spirit and your soul. But if you see something over there that you think it calls you, and when you apply yourself to it, you know exactly what to do, or you think you know exactly what to do, and you have some know-how about it, and you probably could help enhance it. You have a right to it. You have a right to be a part of it. You're a part of this world anyway. You live amongst people in this place. And I think that is what keeps a lot of those type artists, from popping up on the scene. And then some of the artists too are not always encouraging neither, because a lot of us leave home with the mentality that Like we are the stalwarts of the industry. Like we are the gatekeepers, and we have the yay or nay to say if you pass or go. And when we see them, oftentimes we don't encourage them. We kind of take away from them and kind of make them feel like, well, you don't really know what is going on back home, so you really have no say in this. And that's very discouraging. And I understand exactly what it is you was asking. And that is a battle that in the UK, I think is a even more difficult fight than in the US.
Yeah.
Because in the US, they're close to the Caribbean region.
Yeah.
So you still have the connect. But all the way across this side now, what you have here is what you have here. Unless, whatever comes from home comes and stays here for a while that you could absorb and feel. Other than that, the most, I would personally tell them, well, don't give up on your craft. And, because things take time to happen.
You think that too?
I agree. I think one of the problems is also ignorance. A lot of the people that fight them have no clue.
Yeah.
What's going on? A lot of the DJs that don't give these outside artists, for want of a better word, a listening ear or any sort of attention, have no clue because they themselves don't travel. They've not been anywhere, so they don't know what's happening because and strange enough, it's not just limited to the UK artists. It's also there are artists that are from Grenada and from other countries, even Antigua, where you hear some of the DJs making comments like, well, who's this or who's that? What kind of song is that? And you now have to tell them, listen, you don't know them, but trust when I tell you that if you see them perform, if you see them, you would have a different mentality. But because they don't travel and they stay in their zone, that's what they see, that's what they're familiar with, so they comment from the textbook of what they've already read.
Yes.
So anything outside of that is just sheer ignorance.
Yeah. Because I think that's basically what has been expressed to me.
Yeah, it's sheer ignorance. They don't know
the difficulties that they're finding.
I've seen some of these artists perform, and I'm telling you, if they only given the chance to do their due, we'll have more artists joining the ranks. But when you have certain people giving instructions or passing judgment on something that for a fact they don't know what they're speaking about, it's very sad because some of these artists actually take the advice or lack of advice from these people as gospel, and they run with it. And some of them either say, you know what, I'm done with the singing thing, or forget Trinidad, or that's it.
Because that is what has happened,
and it's very sad.
They've just fizzled out and they've just given up. How do you balance your work life? You've got a daughter, you're here, you're there. There's periods of time when you're home, and there's times when you're outside doing sort of lots of things. Like now, this period of time, you're just traveling. I know it's the summer holidays, but how do you balance it and stay sane?
I think because we've been doing this for X amount of years, naturally we have control of our environment, and we are in an industry that allows you to really grasp control of your environment and not let things that are happening around you control you. So therefore we could basically say, well, no, not now, yes, no, no, not now. And then added to that, sometimes our daughter travel with us. So a lot of the places, and we'll fly the babysitter as well, so that we could go to work when we need to go to work, or she'll be safe in the hotel and everything will be all right. And it basically just, it evens out itself. And because our fraternity, it has not grown to the point yet, per se, where demand is for one person to go this way and the other one to go that way. Most times where we go it is in the time period where all the artists are required to go to the same place. So we're in each other's environment anyway. So that, that's like 50% of the work already done for itself already.
Okay, and you?
Prioritizing, we're big on prioritizing. We make sure that whatever we do, it has to be structured around her. So then everything else falls into perspective, and it lines up very nicely, because now you're not just singing because you want to sing, and you're singing with a purpose.
Yeah.
You have a job,
Mm-hmm.
and you treat your job, although it may differ greatly in nature to somebody who has a regular 9 to 5. The discipline, the respect, and the way you approach it still has to be key factors in what you do, especially as you have a daughter and a school age.
Yeah.
And that's also impressionable. You want to make sure that you're still there to put certain values and manners and discipline in place. So you need to structure how you do what you do. So for us, we basically categorize everything discipline. We take her on the road when we can, so that we could spend that time with her, also expose her to other people's cultures, different countries and stuff, help with that learning experience. But at the same time, once we're home, we tend to make home as normal as possible, so that she has that normal run about the yard, play football, home vibe.
Okay. And outside of music, and I know it takes up an enormous part of your time, what other passions do you have outside of the music? So you're not writing, you're not in the studio, none of that.
She has a big thing for, sorry to jump the gun, but she has a big thing for like interior designing, and she designed our whole house from ground up, inside, outside, everything.
Like the architecture,
everything, or the whole house,
beams, everything, and then I decorate.
Every single part of our house is fully customized. Every single part of our house is customized. And she just sat with the architect, and she was like, all right, I want to put this like this. And she sketched it out, and then he would put measurements in it, and it would be like, wow, from this, you know what you're seeing.
And you can see the vision.
Yeah,
Okay.
so that's when she's not singing, she's in that mode, or
Cooking.
Yeah, I hear about the cooking.
Yeah.
I heard about the cooking.
I just started.
What about you? What's yours?
No, and I was going to let her continue from there.
He's
I think you
eating.
spoke first. What is your passion?
No, my passion is really things with technology. I like to relax and play video games and digging up in some kind of gadget and trying to figure it out, or
Oh, boy with a toy.
Nat Geo or Animal Planet or Discovery, and that's me.
Okay.
Yeah.
At least you've got something outside of the music, because sometimes I think people get so engrossed in their life.
And gym.
And gym.
Yeah, anything to do with fitness.
Yeah.
Just
Oh, yeah.
Okay. What's the fun in that?
Yeah.
That wrap it up was too harsh.
What was I gonna? There was one more question I was gonna ask.
19 minutes.
Well, it looks like that's it, guys. All this, waited a whole week, and I've got to wrap it up. I mean, it's a pleasure talking to the pair of you. Obviously, I've seen you every time you've come over. Obviously, I was there on Sunday, and brilliant show.
Thanks very much.
I'm just, starstruck, whatever you want to call it, but I am always in awe of how long artists perform for, because sometimes you get 5 minutes, and I mean, I've seen it. Last year, an artist came over and he performed for 5 minutes. Such a letdown. But you went up. That's the difference between soca artists and raga artists. I have to say, soca artists, they give you a performance, and you get a value for your money.
Yeah.
And I have to say, value.
Because it's about the passion first, and not the paper.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm happy, you're happy. Martin's calling. I have to wrap up.
Gatekeeper.
It's been a pleasure. Honestly, it's been a pleasure. Janet from Trinis in London.
We are actually Trinis in London.
Literally.
Trinis in London right now.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Safe
All right.
trip.
Thank you very much.
Safe trip.
Hey, bye-bye. Be blessed.
So real, so real, so real,